looking.
What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me once again, and welcome back to Master Sword. Today we are going to be jumping into Chapter 2 of Call of the Sea, which is a really fun adventure puzzle game I've been sinking quite a bit of time into. So there's a lot to see right off the bat here on Chapter 2. A much more expansive area with more to click on, more to learn from, and more for Nora to explain, so I'm going to attempt to give her as much space to talk about that as I can, while still telling you guys as far as what's going on here with the puzzles and things like that. So initially here you'll see right off the bat that these little huts, they have these tikis in front of them, and they also have a crest up on top of them. So you'll notice that Nora will take notes on both of these things throughout all of the buildings in the area, and those are pretty important just as far as puzzles go so far. But aside from that, I think this is just a good time to explore and check everything out in this area. There's way more to do.
Looks like some of the crew members
So
didn't get along
get
too well.
antiquated with the space, with the level, and with all the little secrets, and we'll keep seeing if we can't figure out the puzzles here.
Fascinating.
Let me record it. So, you said you've been on this island before.
Yes. Some years ago. I made a rookie mistake. I did it from my fishing route to go to what looked like a better spot. Less than an hour had gone. By when suddenly, my va'a, my canoe overturned. And I got this lovely souvenir from that mistake.
Heavens, what gave you that scar?
It's not a what, but a who. I don't know. I didn't get a good look at it. But it seemed like a sea creature I never seen. Anyway, I was lucky enough to reach that white sand beach. The one where we landed on the island. A man came 3 days later and got me out of there. He brought me to the port of Papeete without speaking a single word. Time passed, and I promised myself that I would go on with my life and forget about this damn island.
Why did you agree to return to the island then?
I need to know what happened to me, to discover the truth. I don't know if you get me.
Absolutely.
So we have stumbled upon what looks like a much more substantial base camp for the Everhard expedition.
So now
Kind of lost in the jungle here, and I really love how Call of the Sea kind of doesn't tell you too much, at least as far as mandatory information goes. You kind of need to
What well?
reveal details to yourself with all of this extra information and readings and
Something's missing
pictures.
inside that emblem.
You just listen to that audio recording there. So there's just really a lot to find throughout this area, and you kind of have to figure out who's who and who did what and what happened. If you manage to look through everything, I think you'll ultimately figure things out, and the story does a really good job of revealing itself to you at the same time. So
This fella sounds pretty hot-headed. Blowing an ancient hatch with dynamite sounds like a fool's errand to me. Ooh, looks like some... They were packing a lot of heat when they came to this island, but they took all the guns with them. I'm not sure what to expect on this island, but I hope I won't regret not having a gun. Nice comb.
So while we found
Noticed this
the
much about
expedition,
their appearance
it's
in
clear
place
that we
like
haven't
this.
exactly found the expedition because we're chasing them and effectively trying to follow their trail of breadcrumbs to wherever they are now.
Quite a looker. A fashion model, maybe. His real name was cost us? Damn it. Someone on the expedition died. What a delicate piece of craftsmanship. He seems confused, as if he was having a hard time writing this down. They used the emblem as a headstone for Roy's grave. This one resembles a shark. A farewell message. I never thought that this expedition would cause anybody's death. I'm sure Harry never thought so either. If he'd known this was going to happen, he'd never have come here. Did they use all the dynamite? Explosives. Looks dangerous. I hadn't been close to a grave since my mother's burial. Shortly after she died, my lovely Dalmatian spots, as Harry used to call them, appeared. We thought it was nothing at first. An amulet with a carved Marquesian cross. The symbol represents balance and protection. Look at this little fella. Why is this hammock so far from the rest of the campsite?
So it's very clear that every character is very different so far in the story. And each of them has a very slowly developing backstory that we uncover, throughout the chapters. And of course, some of them tend to last longer than others, and we've seen that there's been a death already. So it's very fun to try to piece together, who did what and what's happening. Where the more steamy opinions lie between which characters, and they do a really great job of telling this subtle story inside of this beautiful world and this ambient level to walk around. So as we get up the hill here, we've run into materials from each of the different members of the expedition now, except for Harry. So it looks like this might be the place for that.
It's been ripped out of something else. I've seen Harry keep even restaurant checks for bookkeeping. He would never tear up a piece of valuable information. The parts of the tiki on this column seem movable. But Frank seems to feel guilty for whatever happened. I feel really bad for him. Considering how poorly Harry draws, this isn't half bad. Look at him. Giddy as a schoolboy. Icor? What mess did you get into, Harry? You put together quite an expedition, Harry. And all just for little old me. The Harry Everhard I know would never have given up on this. Something? Black ooze. In a telescope? Other planes of existence. That's bats. This explains why the campsite is nearly abandoned. Jeepers, a stranded ship.
My dear old pal, I know you won't ever read this letter, but I'm accustomed to writing you and it comforts me in this strange place. This island is riddled with secrets. So many secrets. But I'm not only talking about mechanisms and contraptions, Laura. I dare say that something on the island clouds one's judgment. Otherwise, I don't have an explanation for Roy's actions. The man was arrogant, impulsive, and a little cocky, but he was no fool. We weren't friends by any means, but he didn't deserve what happened to him. Nobody deserves that. We may have made some progress in finding the cure for your illness, but at what price? I miss you so much, Nora. Harry.
He may not say it explicitly, but Harry blames himself for Roy's death. I know him too well. And I miss you too, Harry. Where did you get this strange device, Harry? I'm not really sure how this thingamajig works, or what to do with it.
So we've taken inventory now, which I think is a major first step. You know, just seeing what kind of ground you can cover in a level, what kind of little things are hidden here and there, and you know, kind of getting your feet wet before we try to solve any major puzzles. Although the first one that we've been toying with throughout the level already is presented right here in front of us. So I think it's time we take a look at that. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the level, there is a tiki in front of each of these buildings down in the lower area of the map. And each tiki is also associated with a slate, like a plaque of a certain animal, either above the building or we noticed one of them was missing and actually attached to the back of a grave. So if you spot that, even if you don't spot that, you know which one is missing. But finding that does come in handy. First thing we're going to do is assemble this little puzzle, effectively, this paper puzzle. which is going to give us the order of symbols that we need to use to match and solve this puzzle. So you'll see to the left of this little piece of paper that we're putting back together, there's a tiki in the center of this room in Harry's first hut here. And we can see that we can interact with it, although every level of the tiki has 4 faces or 4 features. So it's difficult to know what kind of orientation it really needs. However, you'll notice that we just put a piece of paper together that gives us a specific pattern of animal symbols. And we also notice that those symbols are associated with the tiki in front of that particular hut. So what we got to do is look at this order of animal symbols and then associate that portion of the tiki to that symbol up on the main tiki. So for an example, we have an animal slate actually located on the back of the tombstone here in this area. There's also a tiki nearby, and if we match the symbol, we see that it's the shark. The shark is second from the top on our key, which means that we want to use the piece of this tiki that is second from the top. In this case, it's eyes. So with that rule and order, we can kind of figure out what the rest of the main tiki is supposed to look like. There's a little bit of puzzle in here as far as figuring out the match, figuring out that the tikis even matter, and figuring out which associated part of the tiki matches with the animal symbol. I think that took me a bit, but ultimately it's a fun and honestly quite challenging first real puzzle, I'd like to call it. I know maybe I called the puzzle in the last chapter the first real puzzle, but this one was kind of tough, and I honestly floated around this level for quite a bit before getting anything done. And there we go. So if you match your symbols properly, you should be able to get that tiki open and sneak into a fun new back room here.
What kind of stone is this? I've never seen any substance quite like it. Impressive work. Is that a fish pattern? This appears to be the shrine of a Polynesian chieftain.
So if you've been following the story in this area very closely at all, you'll understand very immediately that the expedition was attempting to climb this strange ancient elevator located down in this central area here. You can see it right here. It's one of the first things that you kind of discover upon entry into the area, but it clearly needs a key, and we haven't been able to find it until now. But after solving the tiki puzzle, we've managed to find our way up to the top of this platform.
How is that possible? What fascinating technology. Oh my! Oh my goodness, what happened here? That black ooze again. Skin alterations. Heavens, he's losing his mind. Cripes, this man was splashed with that black liquid. Whoever took this picture must have a really cool head. Those spots look all too familiar. Is this a picture of my hand? Erythrocytes. Ugh, I can't stand the smell of medical equipment. Reminds me of my ill. I'd better not touch it. Given what happened, they shouldn't have either. Is this stone structure a hatch of some sort? Well then, I'm going down. Come on, Nora. Deep breath. Is somebody whispering? Hello? Is anyone down here? This eye, is it calling to me? Do they have two pupils? Were these eyes related to the ritual? Are these ornamental? Or something else? Another eye. I hear whispering. I almost feel as if they're watching me. I feel disoriented down here. Are these ornamental? Or something else? I hear it. I'd better draw it just in case. The whispering, it stopped. Was I imagining all that? I can press these star-shaped tiles. You were close to something here, Harry. Maybe he heard the whispers too. How old is this mural? It looks really ancient.
Well, now things have officially gotten weird. There is a major new element to the story in Call of the Sea, and it is this ancient civilization that is not Polynesian, possibly not human, and has left a lot of their architecture and murals and other strange objects on this island. And we get our first glimpse at it down in this well with these weird astral buttons and strange visions of this black ooze. It's all very mysterious. We can see kind of how it corrupts the expedition right off the bat here in this first chapter already. But we're going to learn a few other things from being down in this well, and these are kind of hard to spot at first, but you'll notice down in the well there are some eyes around the outer walls, and if you click on them all, you'll ultimately see a series of visions that will be jotted down in Nora's notes, and she will depict which of these eyes gave her the visions. And this one's kind of tricky as well. You'll notice this weird machine up in Harry's tent, cabana, whatever you want to call it, when you're exploring the area initially, but you really won't know what to do with it, and you will not know to type in this combination of symbols. So basically, it's really just a simple coordinate system. It's 5x5, and based off of the eyes that we put down in our journal, we need to size the circles accordingly and change the layout by pressing the plus and minus button. And it's really all that does is there's three sizes of circles. There's a 5x5 coordinate grid, and you effectively need to put the circles in the right place. So it's kind of tricky. At least it seems tricky. But if you get those eyes jotted down in your journal, you'll know where the black dots need to go, and so that definitely helps figure out that puzzle.
Yes, I think I solved it.
And this is going to reveal to us a fresh little lens, which can be used inside of the conveniently placed nearby telescope. So let's check that out.
fits. What? What on earth? What is happening? My God. What? What was that I saw? What were those stars?
So the final puzzle in this area has to do with the constellation we just saw in the telescope up in the sky, or the theoretical sky, whatever we just saw. And that constellation is going to help us solve the astral buttons down in the well. So let's go figure that out. But firstly, if you take the elevator up and then come back the other way, you'll find a little Easter egg here. Raw Fury is, of course, the publisher of this game, and there are a lot of nice hidden achievements in this game. Most of them are secret, in fact, so there's really no hints, and you kind of just have to uncover them. And this is a fun one. Totally found that by accident. So now that we're in the well, we're going to come back to these buttons we were pressing earlier and figure out what to actually do with them. You'll notice that one of these buttons is different than the rest. It's got more of a gold star on it, and it kind of indicates the beginning of the constellation. That should be a good major first hint. And you only get 8 presses. At first I wasn't sure if I was pressing the wrong button or going the wrong way, but you only get to press a certain number regardless. And with all that said, you'll have jotted down this constellation, so you'll know what sequence of buttons to press here in order to properly form it. And so this is the third mini puzzle within this chapter. Like I mentioned at the beginning, things do pick up quite a bit here, and not just the puzzles, but the story as well. And clearly things are starting to get a little bit crazy, so I'm glad we've made it through this together. Chapter 2, like I said, is a lot more intense than Chapter 1, and things are only going to get more interesting from here. So I'm really looking forward to checking out Chapter 3 and solving some more puzzles with you guys. So if you're enjoying Call of the Sea, please be sure to subscribe, like this video, leave me a comment if I can improve in any way, shape, or form. And stay tuned for the rest of the series, because I'll be knocking out some more videos on this game and finding some more of those hidden achievements while I'm at it. So I'll catch you guys on the next chapter, and thanks so much again.